Tuesdays with Eliot and Eliot Shorr-Parks. Sup, Eliot?
What up? How you guys doing?
So start this off. I'll give the Twitter question results, and then I will ask for your opinion on it. The question brought to you by Mark's Jewelers with locations in Montgomeryville and Mount Laurel. There's a Mark's Jewelers minutes from everywhere. Online at marks-jewelers.com. Can the Eagles win the Super Bowl this year without A.J. Brown? Now, the response was 61.9% no and 38.1% yes. What do you think?
I mean, yes, they could, but I think their chances go from... cut in half, if not way less. Losing AJ would be a significant blow to this team on the field. They played well last Sunday. I think the Eagles with Nick and Jalen would continue to compete without AJ, and I think they'd go to the playoffs, and then you never know what happens. But
yeah, we do.
We do know
what will happen.
Right. So if you trade AJ, we'll get into it in a second.
Sure.
On where I'm at with it, but. They are a worse team without AJ. There's no question about it. On the field, they're not as talented without AJ.
You're not beating the Rams, probably the Bucks, the Lions. Who else? Am I missing somebody? The Packers.
So
without AJ?
Anything's possible, but they would be underdogs in all those games.
No, they would not.
Anything's possible.
They would not be an underdog to the Bucks. Hold on.
Well, first of all, they've already lost to the Bucks in the playoffs without AJ.
Yes.
But then again, you wouldn't have the Bucks here.
Well, but also,
right?
Look, the Bucks...
Presumably.
The Bucks have one good wide receiver, right, at this point? Emeka Egbuka, that's it. Evans is gone. What are we talking about here?
All right, so I guess if the game was here, they'd probably be favorites. You're right.
They would be 5-point favorites over the Bucks, I think.
At home in the playoffs?
I believe so.
So do you think they'd be favorites to any opponent at home?
I think they would be a favorite over the Rams, and I think what's the other? Green Bay? Mm-hmm. I don't know, we'll see.
Lions would be tough.
Lions would be tough.
Yeah.
But remember, in this situation, if the game is here, it would also mean that we have a better record than the Lions.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
you're right. Yeah.
And the Packers...
it would also mean that you would have had to have beaten them twice because you play the Lions and the Packers coming up.
Yeah.
Or just have a better record.
Well, no, I mean, in order to beat them in the playoffs, you probably... Well, there's no way you would have a better record if you lose to them.
Well, you could.
I guess you could.
Yeah, you could. I guess my point is this.
It'd be unlikely is all I'm saying.
I think from a talent standpoint, you are right. But also, I'm thinking about the potential negatives on the other side that are a drain on... Because all these teams we're talking about that we can't beat without AJ, even without AJ... We are more talented then. Now, maybe not the Rams on offense. Maybe not the Rams. But Bucks...
You're not more talented than the Lions.
Yeah, I think if you don't have AJ, you're not as talented as the Lions.
Really?
I mean, Jameer Gibbs, Amonte Brown, Williams,
David Montgomery,
the tight end is good.
Yeah, Sam Laporta.
Our tight end is good. You just told me he's a top 5 tight end.
The Eagles are talented for sure. But I'm saying the Lions are basically the Eagles.
And we have a better
currently.
Quarterback, right?
I think they do have a better quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess my point is this, is that I think there's a world in which... I know he's talented, and they're more talented, but I do think there is a reality to the two things. One, they did this for 1 year with everybody not getting except for Saquon, everybody not getting the play that they... Now, look at this year with A.J. Brown's touches down. Dallas Goedert's having the best season he's had in forever.
Yeah.
He's leading the NFC in touchdowns and touchdown catches.
I think the whole NFL.
The whole NFL.
He's tied for the NFL lead. Yeah.
What about receptions?
Not there.
He's not there. Devontae is what, 7th in the NFL in yards?
So this is why I'm saying I think they could win the Super Bowl without AJ.
Right.
Let me tell you where I'm at with...
No, because I haven't even gotten to Indianapolis, the Chiefs, and Buffalo.
Yeah, but the tough part of that argument is if they were in the Super Bowl, then at that point they could obviously win it. If they got to the Super Bowl without AJ, right?
I guess theoretically you could, but they wouldn't be favored.
Look, we're on the same page that losing AJ is a significant blow. They still have a ton of talent, and they still have an elite quarterback. They have an elite coaching staff. They have a defense that I think will improve as the year goes on. So they're not going to miss the playoffs without AJ.
That's different.
I don't even know how much their Super Bowl odds would change.
And you can make the playoffs. Listen, the NFC might be the toughest it's been in a decade plus. Yeah. These teams Baker can come on the road and beat you. You mean to tell me Detroit with the Lions couldn't come on the road and beat you?
But I think the Eagles could beat those teams as well without AJ. Like
I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that. I'm just saying it's not likely in my opinion.
I agree.
It's not likely in my opinion. I wouldn't pick them in that situation. You would have to be playing at such a high level. Put it this way: as I look at the Eagles and the way they played through 8 games, now if in 9 more games, if they're averaging 30 points a game, then my opinion would be different because I got more of a track record of them without AJ.
Yeah.
But just because they throttled the Giants. I'm not ready to say we don't need AJ and we can go win the Super Bowl. That is absolutely ridiculous.
What if I throw this out there? We've all touched on it, but nobody has said it out loud. Jalen Hurts in that post-game press conference was smiling his ass off.
Oh, he's happy.
And when we were talking to Jordan yesterday, you didn't connect the dots, but I did. You said to Jordan, Jalen was particularly talkative in the locker room after the game.
He was very happy.
He was joking with people after the game.
Yeah.
My
connect the dots, Eliot.
There you go with that.
I'm saying it. Eliot's not saying a word. I'm saying it. So
you weren't in the locker room.
No. But he described Jalen.
Yes. Yeah.
What the dots that I'm connecting is it possible, just like with Josh Allen, when the weight of Stephon Diggs, when that stress was not on him, can we get a better Jalen Hurts without the stress of AJ? And the potential, let me just throw this out, the potential of the AJ thing continuing all year. We've had only 8 weeks of it. Imagine 17 weeks of it. Now look, my hand to God, if he stops it, not even a question. I'm not even a question. But
which he has over the last week. No new tweets.
He has, but he also hasn't played or talked to the media.
No new tweets.
I agree with you.
Some posts about Reed Blankenship.
Oh, positive ones about Reed?
And
Coop.
Seems like they can close to Coop and Reed.
Yeah.
Monitoring that situation.
I just think there's a world where talent isn't everything. And to get the most out of the players that are there, we might get a better Devontae Smith with A.J. Brown out there.
So here's where I'm torn. Okay. Because I agree with a lot of what you just said. And I think like if you look at the tea leaves and the national attention, like I get that it's a distraction. Where I am torn is from being inside, like when I'm in the locker room, and I know that's not like a true thing, all right? But like when the media's in there, when I'm at practice, like they're used to this. So like I don't think having AJ on the roster is going to make them a worse team the rest of the year. I don't think he's going to be such a distraction that it's going to tank the year. I mean, last year, it was the most it could possibly almost ever be when Brandon said Jalen and AJ are not friends, and they had to talk about it, right? So this is not a new thing. It's not like Jalen and AJ all of a sudden like maybe don't seem to get along.
It may be a more known thing amongst them.
Yeah, so I just because of me seeing AJ in the locker room, I don't view him as this like massive distraction. The only way I would trade AJ is if he said to the team, I want to be traded and I am going to like not practice when I come back because my hamstring still hurts. I want out. And even at that point, I think you'd have to get a really good return. I am not trading AJ for the logic of he's a distraction. Like that I can't get down with.
No.
But if he is going to be like, I want out, then yes, I would do it because I think at that point you do have to think about Jalen and the team, but only if he's making it clear he's going to make it worse than it's ever been.
Yeah, and
I don't think he will.
In fear of repeating exactly what you just said, that's really what it's about. It's not about, we're past the whole distraction part. This is about, is he happy here or not? Does he want to be here? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what this is about.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, you're not in the locker room right now as a player, but you had a lot. You were here for however many years.
7.
Like, when things are a distraction on the outside, as a former player, does it feel that level of distraction inside? If that makes sense. Like, I can't tell how much the players care about this.
Well, it depends on what it is. So in other words, if there's outside criticism of a particular player or coach, that brings us closer together. If you're ripping Andy Reid or you're ripping Donovan McNabb, we have their back. So that's an outside noise, right? The Rush Limbaugh stuff, like all the booing at the draft, like stuff like that. That stuff that it unified us. It brought us closer together. That's different than it coming from within. Mm-hmm. When someone's not happy on the inside, right? Because now you're dealing with the unhappiness on the inside. It's easy for players to band together and make the media or fans sort of the rallying cry, and we're going to rally around our coach or our quarterback or a particular player or what have you. But when the unhappiness is coming from within, it's much harder to deal with because we're so conditioned to be a family and to be as one. It's like having family members upset at each other. And depending on that role of the family member, that determines how significant their happiness is, right? If it's a family member that doesn't come around very often and you only see them every once in a while, it's easy to block that person out. Mm-hmm. But if it's Big Mama or if it's Pop, somebody who holds the family together, and there's an issue in there. How are the Thanksgiving gatherings, the Christmas gatherings, the family reunions? That's going to be uncomfortable. So I'm trying to get this analogy that is really about AJ being happy being here. It's not about a distraction to the team. It's whether or not is he pulling in the same direction with the rest of us, because the implications are he's not either happy with the design of the offense, which is the coordinator, mm-hmm. or he's not happy that the ball's not coming to him. Either way, you're pointing a finger indirectly at someone inside. And what about all these other guys who are standing up there defending the Kevin Patullos and Jalen Hurts, this, that, and the other, and there's one person that's like, well, we could throw the ball better. I was open on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes it a little harder is all I'm saying. So I say that to say this is an easy fix if he's happy and ready to move on. He's ready to move past whatever it was the first 6 or 7 weeks of the season, his frustrations, offense, all that, yada, yada, yada. You come back from the bye week, and you're like, dude, I'm trying to win a championship. See, that's the one thing that we haven't gotten, that nobody wants to talk about, because that's all we care about as fans, is winning another Super Bowl. I like hearing the players say, yeah, we're trying to go win another championship. I could care less about hearing I want to dominate this player or that player. I've never heard I'm about winning as many championships as I can win. What I've actually heard is that championship didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I want to dominate.
That didn't satisfy me.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that that's not a different message from a team message just trying to win a championship.
So that's my concern with keeping AJ, what you just said, right? Yeah. Like in the building. And again, I'm not in the positional meetings. I'm not in the locker room all the time. But
it's just mixed messages that he sends it confuses people as to what's most important to him.
But when I'm at practice and I see AJ in the locker room, he's like talking to his teammates. He's laughing. So like, I agree that he's giving off the perception that he is like sulking and unhappy, and that might be the case when I'm not seeing him. I'm just saying when I'm seeing him,
sure,
I've been around players.
You're media.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, normally guys like don't even come in the locker room, or guys aren't at practice.
He's not speaking to you. He's not speaking to the media.
No, I know, but right.
The one thing that we're talking about here that I think, and this is just sort of a personality assessment I would make, is you're saying if he came back and he said, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. We have T.O. T.O. didn't give a damn what people thought, and T.O. was so delusional, God bless him, is that when everybody was mad at T.O., he still thought that he was in the right. Even to this day, you ask T.O., you say, you go back and look, I actually didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
AJ likes being liked.
I agree with that.
That is the other difficult thing for AJ, which is why I think he does it in the way that he does it, because AJ wants to walk that line where he is liked internally and externally. I think he seems like a good guy. His teammates like him. But T.O., to a certain degree, didn't care if he blew things up, right? Mm-hmm. And outside, AJ likes being liked by fans. I do believe AJ likes being here.
And he likes not being viewed as a diva.
He absolutely does.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the truth is, so I actually find it hard to believe he would come back and go, I'm not playing.
I agree.
But also, it doesn't mean that it's not there. So I guess he could be just, and I keep going back to the quarterback, because this is who it focuses on. Jordan Mailata, God bless him, doesn't affect him as a person. It affects him, I guess, maybe a little bit. He's still got to block the way that he blocks. Zach Bond's got to play the way that he does. Jalen Hurts is the one guy who's got to drop back and look at the field and think to himself, the hell's this guy going to do if I don't throw him the ball? And we've seen times this year where they come out of halftime and all they do is throw the ball to A.J. Brown. And you cannot tell me, you could say from a football perspective that makes sense, I guess, sure, but it also, you can't tell me there's not somebody in that building thinking to themselves, whether it's Patullo or whether it's Jalen or whether it's Nick Sirianni, telling themselves, we got to get A.J. the ball, instead of we got to move the ball. Instead of, we got complete passes. And I guess my point on it all is, I think to an extent, having somebody like that, as talented as that person may be, could make it harder for everybody else to do their jobs and get the best out of everybody else. And I wonder, I don't know, I just wonder, does Jalen Hurts become 10% better with AJ not there? Does Devontae Smith become 10% better with AJ not there? Does Dallas Goedert become 10% better with AJ not there? That is what I wonder, that I don't know the answer to, but I do know enough about like people to know that when there's a drain like that, it can make you worse at what you do.
Well, go ahead.
No, so again, I think you're making a lot of good points. And I think that if they were to trade AJ, that would be the hope, right? Is that right? But like, this is not a new problem. Like, it might be a more intense problem, but it's only more intense because there's real trade speculation, whereas last year there wasn't. So to your point about, maybe the team could kind of blossom if like they had this all last year and they dealt with it. So that's why I'm not pressing the button of like, this is a situation you can't repair. Like, he's got to go now. Where I think if he demanded it, that's different.
Right.
But
yes.
if he's just gonna come back to practice on next, whatever, and like you're getting like he's the same guy he's been all year.
Right.
Then I don't think the situation is so bad where he's got to go. I see the benefits, what you're saying. I just don't view it.
That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
I think they can handle it. And by the way, like Nick Sirianni's job is to handle these personalities.
Yes.
And I think he's done a good job with AJ for the most part, right? Like they're close and all that. But that's where I'm at with it. We're like, if he's not going to cause a huge disruption, he's not going to do anything more than he is. Because also, I don't even think his social media posts mean as much anymore. If he does this in 2 weeks, like, how many times are we going to react to this?
Well, but also,
every time.
But also, if
hey, Eliot, every time.
You're right, but
so the idea, hold on, real quick,
Yeah.
right? The idea of him tweeting something and we're going to ignore it, that's not what the media does.
No, I'm not saying the media, but I just think the more you do it, it loses its impact.
Well, I also
just meant when you say how many times are you going to do it before we ignore it? I'm just saying.
No, we'll always talk about it, and we should,
Yes,
100%.
yes.
But like that first post after Tampa, like exploded, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's been one or two after that, and like it's become a story, but I feel like they lose their impact the more he does it.